Boy, so Theresa May yesterday gave an absolute disaster of a speech. This address was supposedly her way of making her case for her new Brexit deal that she's pushing and trying to get through the Parliament. And I have to say, I don't know how she thought that was going to go. I'm not sure what constituency she had in her head that she was appealing to with those remarks and with those details that she outlined yesterday. I think that after that performance, my view of May has shifted quite a bit. I used to think that she was just perhaps incompetent and bumbling, but now I think that she might in fact be a masochist, because she seems to be quite adamant in her efforts to piss off just about everyone in the Parliament and in politics, really. Her most egregious so-called concession of the day was her somewhat tacit endorsement of a second referendum via her consent for MPs in the House of Commons to vote on the possibility of a second referendum, which to me is a de facto endorsement of the whole Remain revisionist movement. Much in the same way that somebody would only support a second referendum if they opposed Brexit, someone would only support a vote in Commons on a second referendum if you supported the second referendum. Because if you were satisfied with the original result of the first referendum, then there is no need for a second referendum, and therefore there's no need to vote on one in Commons. I suppose she was trying to win over some Remainers to support her New Deal, but why would they support her New Deal if they're going to get their second referendum? I mean, there's so much blood in the water. Why would they stop chomping at her now? The woman has been hemorrhaging support for, since she came into office, frankly, and I don't see why any of the non-Tory MPs wouldn't be happier just to let her try and sink even deeper. What incentive do they have to throw her a lifeline? Because she's stopped threatening the one thing that the Remainers want the least, and that, of course, is a hard Brexit. And by hard Brexit, that they, of course, mean, for those of you watching in the U.S., a hard Brexit just means actual Brexit, meaning that the U.K. is no longer bound by any EU agreements. No, is May threatening the Remainers? Is she saying, hey, you got to make a deal with me or else we're going to have a hard Brexit? No, she said absolutely not. That'll never happen. In fact, she's threatening the Brexiteers, the people who she is supposed to be representing. May had the gall in her speech to say, hey, if you don't take my deal now, then we're not going to have any Brexit at all. I'm just going to pick up my toys and go home then. A complete, total, and overt betrayal of all the voters who supported her party in the months succeeding the Brexit vote and who trusted in them to actually do their jobs. So after her speech yesterday, she managed not only to completely alienate all Brexiteers, those within her own party included. Even the more soft Brexit types within the Tory party are fed up with May. But she barely moved the needle when it comes to the opposition parties. They still don't seem to see anything at all interesting in May's plan. From what I understand, they see, sure, she'll let us vote on a bunch of stuff, but what's the guarantee that any of these votes that she's going to allow us to have, like on the second referendum, will actually pass Commons when the Tories are such a big block in there? And considering that a lot of these things that May decided to offer the opposition a vote on are things that are against the Tory manifesto. So therefore, May has effectively no support after yesterday. She is completely illegitimate and is a dead woman walking in all political sense. The latest polls I saw coming out yesterday showed the Brexit Party, for example, at 37 and 38% respectively, but this was all in polls taken entirely before May's speech. After May's speech, I would not be shocked to see the Brexit Party now over 40%. And considering the trajectory and the momentum that the Brexit Party has had in the last couple weeks, I frankly would be surprised to see them under 40% on Election Day. If anyone is to applaud May's speech from yesterday, it should absolutely be the Brexit Party. Because if it's not clear after yesterday to any and all Tory voters that the Conservatives under May are a party of Remain and Remain only, then nothing will wake them up. Now, if the Tories are in fact in single digits after the European elections, which frankly I don't see how they wouldn't be at this point, I will repeat what I said in the last video on this topic, which is I don't see how May remains. But then again, I haven't been able to see how May's remained as long as she has. So perhaps I'm premature in making such pronouncements, but I was reading a report somewhere of anonymous May loyalists coming out and saying, sure, we've backed her this whole way, but no, this time, this is a bridge too far. So it seems like this was, for the Tories even, a watershed moment in May's premiership. Or perhaps do you Anglos pronounce it premiership? Now, as far as potential replacements for May, like I often say, I'm not the most stringent observer of UK politics, so I could not tell you who is the favorite to win. The people I could think of, I guess, of course, would be, Boris Johnson or, I think that Jacob Rees-Mogg guy has kind of burned his bridges and defended May a little too much, so perhaps he doesn't have the credibility to challenge her and also doesn't have the popularity, from what I understand. But it would seem as though there really isn't anyone in the Tory party who's particularly popular. I mean, I know May wasn't very popular when she was crowned the leader, but if those of you in the UK have any thoughts on that, I'd appreciate you leaving some comments on that topic, because in the upcoming, because I'm sure it has to be soon, race for Tory party leader, I would like to have a bit of a background on some of the people before that kicks off. Oh, and one last thing I forgot is that May, absolutely, she's doubling down on her betrayal of the Irish Unionists. She's working, it seems, 24/7 to try and ensure that there's some kind of an Irish backstop deal, and that Northern Ireland is effectively handed over to the Republicans. There doesn't seem to be much sympathy for the provincials, as it were. And so, unsurprisingly, the Unionists will not support her latest deal. I don't think really anyone will. I might be surprised if they even hold a vote for it. I think that it would probably be in May's best interest to just go ahead and resign with her tail between her legs. Again, unless, going back to my masochist theory, that's the only thing that explains why she would stay in this position for so long. So the moral of the story is that if you try and sit in the mushy middle, you're going to enrage just about every side that there is, anyone who has any sort of passion for any sort of ideas. And I think that'll about do it for today. So if you got anything of value out of this video, I'd appreciate you clicking that like button and subscribing. And if you do subscribe, please do click the bell, because I do upload every day, and I'd hate to have you miss one. So I'll see you back here tomorrow.